Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Danny's Toy Box. I've got a bunch more drawings to show you guys, but I wanted to show you this first. The office for the Cobra recruitment story. Found some stuff to add to the walls to make it look more decorative. I was going through a lot of my old Wizard magazines a couple of weeks ago, realizing I don't need to keep them, so I started tearing out pages that might be useful to me. And these are some of them that I found, and I thought it would look perfect. I mean, this is the last stop before you get your interview with the commander. There's going to be propaganda all over the place. Yeah, I like this one. I Want You, the Baroness. It was an advertisement for a G.I. Joe convention, I think. But yeah, I thought this would be a cool look. I actually had to change this from the shelf it originally was on because the light completely, the whole thing completely fell out of the shelf. And I didn't want to doink around trying to wait for it to glue. So I just put it on a different one. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool. But how about on to the drawings? And here we are. Before I get started in doing a show and tell with the artwork, I'd like to mention a couple people. My thanks, my genuine, heartfelt thanks for comments, interactions, compliments. Quite a few people on here that this is really a great community. And I've been going through some stuff and just want to give out some thanks to some people who really deserve it. At the top of that list is Space Black. Not only are they phenomenal artists, the guy is just so kind, so respectful, well, I wasn't expecting when I got up this morning after doing that video last night to check my messages on YouTube and to find out that Space Black had posted one of my video, or one of the clips from the video. I think it was a picture of Lalandra, naming off of, at the timestamps which ones he really liked, and just inviting everybody else to check it out. That was a great way to start my day. It really put me in a great mood, made me really happy, and I really appreciate it. And along with him, I'd also like to thank Vern Rance. Cool guy, very interesting content, and his videos are just stellar. Evil Dookie, that's another one. His shorts that he does, those are just, man, they are so amazing. The Ice Cipher, another one who, friendly, real friendly guy, and suggested I turn my Dr. Mindbender science lab into an advanced idea mechanics lab, along with a superhero battle in it. Challenge accepted. Not quite sure when I'll get it done, but most definitely challenge accepted. The Lamb Dog Comics channel, for the kind message and compliment you sent me this morning about my video last night. I appreciate you all. You're the best. And it's great to have friends that are, so kind, so supportive. And I appreciate each and every one of you. One more little thing I want to mention. Anybody on here who's ever heard of the guy, his channel is Clever Loeb. See, this guy took AI, and for the visuals for his videos were the actual visual, each individual picture of the classic 1980s G.I. Joe comic. And now he would take his AI and add in all the voice actors from back in the day to the characters in the comic book that is being read off, along with all the old music, sound effects, everything. And I think he'd only got about 5 or 6 of them out. Well, last week I go on his channel, see what new stuff, and there was a message there that said, due to some complaints as to, I don't know if it was copyright infringement or people having a fit about him using those voice actors' voices for entertainment. So he took it all down. And if you're watching this, man, I just want you to know I think it sucks. And I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry we're not going to get to see more of your content because you were doing superbly. All right, enough babbling. Get on with the artwork. Clearly this is Donald Pierce, Lady Deathstrike, Bonebreaker, and one of the other Reavers in the corner there. This one was done in 1999. Yep, and this old one got a lot of messed up memories to go along with it. This here is an original that I did. It was around the time when I was first starting to mess around with paint marker, and I created this character. So got a little bit of a backstory to him, but I think I went and overdid it with the paint marker. Still not a terrible picture, not one of my best, but hey. Got several of these. For a while there, I was on a kick wanting to take and draw out the entire Weapon X story. And I have quite a few finished pieces like this, and quite a few more unfinished pieces. But I think I portrayed the image I was going for, which is Logan just completely, utterly spent after going through that adamantium bonding process. On to the next. Yeah, I wanted to do a picture of Cable the way he looked after getting the synthetic skin over his cybernetics torn off. Again, not one of my better pictures, but not bad. This was done in 2009. Now this is a really old one. This is from 2000. Yeah. I was doing another collage thing where this was at my it was my first apartment, I think, where I was doing a collage, but they were all in frames where each picture would have, 2 to 4 X-Men or some, some X-Forces in there as well. And I still have quite a few of them. I've given a couple away, but a lot of them are still permanently stuck in the picture frame, so those stay stored specially so they don't get damaged worse. And this Storm was done 2005. Again, not one of my better works. I don't like the way the foot here looks, or the lack thereof, but I couldn't get it right, so I just covered it up with mist. And this area just looks like swirls. Not exactly a fantastic representation of the Weather Witch. Who out there remembers the old Sectaurs comic book and action figure line where the figures would ride puppets of giant bugs? I had a bunch of the figures and got all the comics. This one here was done, I gotta say 2004, because at the time I was living in Michigan. My dad lived here in Wisconsin, and I had a sinking feeling something was wrong with him. So I took a week vacation, came up here to see how he's doing. And while I did, we hung out, took the dog to the park, partied, and just, was able to take and open up with each other. And what I got to see was that his health was getting bad and he shouldn't be living alone. So I brought up the subject of me moving back up here and moving it with him to take, help out. And he was all for it. His exact answer was, after I finished saying my speech, he says, "Roommate, you?" I'm like, "Yeah." His exact response was, "When can you get here?" Good man. My father was a very good man. But I digress again. Yeah, this one was actually done riding the Greyhound to come to Wisconsin. Most of it. Here's a really, really old one. Doc Samson and the Hulk. 2002. Really wasn't trying that hard then. Alright, before I flip over to the next page, I want to bring up a subject I slightly mentioned last night's video. The subject of nudity in art. Now, for the most part, I don't put nudity in my pictures. I really don't have to. Every once in a while, something I'm working on, it would fit. I don't do anything vulgar. I don't do anything sexual, anything like that. My art is a lot more precious to me than that. Having said that, the next picture is of Lilith, and I used Post-its to cover up the naughty bits. And there you go. This was from the first issue of The Rise of the Midnight Suns, when she had just pulled herself out of the Leviathan. So she's just squatting there, laying in gore, dripping with it, and contemplating the surviving explorer that stands in front of her, because she had just killed the first one. And yeah, it is full frontal. But the image I wanted to portray with this is anybody's most vulnerable state is when you're naked. Now, not only is she naked, but she just freed herself from being trapped inside this huge monster. So with this, I try to convey a look of, on one level, a little bit of weakness, or the perception of weakness, but the true image is of a predator being passive as it studies its prey. And personally, I think I pulled it off pretty good. This was done in I didn't sign this one. Well, this had to have been done about 2013, 14, 15, somewhere around there. Another unfinished one. I was kind of on a Thor kick for a while, so I sketched up, did a couple of these. I was going to do kind of a mural thing with the villains of Asgard. I have another one with Loki, Enchantress, Lorelei, Scourge is in there. These were the only ones of it that were almost fully done. Malekith missing a couple of things. I didn't date this since it wasn't finished, but I'd have to say probably around 2014 or 15. And now we get the Hobgoblin. This was done in 2002. I realized I didn't have any pictures of the Goblin, and especially when I'm setting stuff up in my figure room, I like to have a picture in the background that has them in it, kind of like a little more pop, I guess, representation. Not one of my best, but, again, artist's worst critic. Alright. Here is one of, I got it upside down. There we go. Marina from Alpha Flight. I believe that's the way this goes. Doing a little play with blues and greens. Kind of in a green phase, I think, when I did this one. And this was done in 2002. Up here's another Weapon X. Let's check that out, get a gander. Let me make sure I got it all in frame. And I thought that was a particularly horrific image, so wanted to do my take on it. Next we got Sabretooth versus Psylocke. This was done yeah, 1996. This used to be one of them that was attached to a picture frame, and I was able to peel it loose. So I thought it would make a good background for a scene I did a while back. And here's the other nudity one that I've got. This idea from a picture from Marvel, of course, where it's, you know, the beginning of the Earth and the birth of Earth's demons. So we got Chthon, Lilith, Mephisto, Shumagorath, Set. This is Gaia, Mother Earth, and yeah, she's just been created, so she doesn't have a dress or robes to put on yet. And then just some random monster here. But on this one, really, the only thing you can really see as far as nudity goes is her breasts. Down the lower part of her area is more in shadow. Yeah, this ain't a bad one. Another one that I didn't quite finish, Rogue in a Savage Land, and it's only just a couple things I gotta do, like her eyes, this here, her lips and her eyes and her eyebrows there, and that one's done. But hey, it's the, you know, sometimes you work on something for a long time. You work on something for a long time, and you lose interest. And one of these days I'll get off my butt and finish it up. Here's an unfinished one I threw in just for the heck of it. One of Kang. This one got me stumped, so I kind of set it aside. Dr. Doom just had his ass thoroughly handed to him by the Beyonder. This is another perfect example about what I was talking about proportion. I wanted his whole body in the picture, but I like to go big. Oh, he was done 2003. The War Machine. He was done 2009. And this just goes to show, like, my preferences or my specialities when it comes to art. When it comes to nature, animals, or people for that matter, I do pretty good. When it comes to mechanical stuff, it's more of a hassle. A bit more of a hassle because, you know, straight lines, sharp edges, as opposed to smooth, rounded ones, more organic. Which is rather ironic because when I first started learning to draw when I was a kid, that was around the time the Transformers came out, and I was drawing Transformers left and right, battle damage where you can see the cogs and whatever bits of them inside of them. And then I switched to portraits for a while, and I think in my mid-teens I discovered oil pastel crayons, and that was pretty much history. Most of these, that's what these are. And the silver on him is actual paint marker. Another one of the early dabblings. And the Enchantress, that was 2003. Not too bad, not too shabby. And we got Black Tom Cassidy when he became Plant Man from 2005. And this one's quite faded in spots. It's Archangel, 2009. Psylocke again, and she was done in 2005. Spider-Woman, she was done in, it's so hard to see, 2006. I got a very, very old one of Elektra that's been through the war, been through the trenches. That's 2003. Anybody remember Vermin from Spider-Man? Especially that great six-parter story, Kraven's Last Hunt. That's what this came from. You can just see the cop's face here as they're nibbling on him. It's from 2008. I did a pencil drawing of this several years prior to doing this one, and wanted to see how it would look in color. Because I do great pencil sketches too, you know, shading, all that kind of thing. But the color really makes it pop. That's what really does it for me. All right. Another Sector, Zack, and Baitar. I was on a Sector kick for a while. I think I'd gotten a couple of the comics that I didn't have, and because of that, I started doing some pictures of these different characters to work on. Oh, and he is, forgot to check. 2012. Oh, bumped the camera. Actor on set. And one of the Gray Hulk versus the Rick Jones Hulk. This one was done 2009. I'm a big AC/DC fan, so I added that to his shirt. I mean, Rick is a young guy. Out in the stories, he's more into folk music, but what the hell? In my world, he's into hard rock. A little one of Shadowcat phasing through Colossus. This one was done in 2005. Polaris from X Factor days, 2009. Sorry, this is a little bit crooked, guys. And Herman Havoc from X Factor 2005. Here's another one of those small ones that I did my vacation with my dad years ago. Ilyana Rasputin, 2004. And the Angel, 2004. This is a way old one. As a matter of fact, I think I did this one. Yeah, in my 20s. 1999. Group shot. Oh, group shot out of picture frame. Group shot of the Marauders. Just gathered together from separate pictures of them in different comics. And then made the effect like it's the Morlock tunnels behind it for scenery. 1999 for that one. Speaking of 99, Spider-Man 2099. I could not read it. This one had to have been in the, I'd say between 2005 2005 and maybe 2010, something like that. Another 99, Hulk 2099. This one turned out pretty good. I was pleased with it. One thing I wasn't pleased with is the kitties decided to chew on it some, so they tore it up a little bit. But it's still a good picture. If I was to hang it up on the wall, I would just hang something in that space to cover it up. 2007, I think. Michael Morbius, as done in 2004. I really liked how this one turned out. And then Submariner versus Marina from that Alpha Flight issue where she was exposed to her mate from her race, and it brought up all of her killer instincts, and she attacked Submariner. This was done in 2005. And you got Ant-Man. You got this idea from a splash page in Marvel Comics Presents. This is 2016. Again, one of my early ones where I'm playing with the metallic paint, adding little bits here and there to make the stuff pop. And then we've got another one of the Sectaurs. If I remember the names correctly, it's the Noble Prince Dargon versus Skeeto, the Mercenary. I like drawing swamp pictures. Look really cool. And I can make them look pretty slick. So I'm thinking pretty soon I'm going to get started on drawing for my brother's diorama. Trying to work through this inability to draw, considering I did it for my grandson just this weekend. Drew him up a quick nice picture of a dinosaur. So I need to get back on the stick and start doing my artwork. That was always my release valve throughout my whole life. As a kid, I'd have problems. I would work it out on the drawing, or at least make it bearable by doing that. This was done in 2010. So I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. When I get a chance, I'll pull out the Inferno and the Age of Apocalypse. Like I said, I'll have to show it to you in sections. But I will do that within the next couple of days. Thanks a lot, everybody, for stopping by the toy box and the drawing box for that matter. All your likes, comments, and wonderful support. It's all greatly appreciated. So remember, stay creative. Try to keep a positive attitude. And just show kindness to each other. Doesn't cost a thing. Alright, folks. Thanks for stopping by. I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.